Hello, LEC community. It's Ivan Ramirez, our Community Engagement Director for the Lanex Education Collaborative. We are here with another episode of LEC Live with a very special guest, Dr. Nancy, which she will be here with us just to recap our recent workshop that we held earlier last month. I think it was last month. She will be sharing what we talked about, also some tips for educator wellness and mental health for you to take care of your mental health. Also, we will also drop a resource link on the comments. And yeah, but before we get there, I want to tell you about what's coming up with the LEC tomorrow. We are hosting Terminando la Cultura de la Chancla with our partners, Lanex Parenting. She will be here with us live in person, talking about different practices, parenting practices, in stepping away from corporal punishment in our yeah, in our culture. After that, well, not yet, but after that, we have Expresión Storytelling Showcase. You can join us, just like you're watching us here live on our live stream. You can also join us on our YouTube channel, Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn. Our Expresión Storytelling fellows will be sharing their stories that they crafted over 3 months. And then to celebrate the end of school year, the beginning of summer, we are hosting a fiesta on June 22nd. It's a Thursday. Come, have fun, learn more about the initiatives that we have for the rest of the summer. It's just a time to, yeah, be in community, meet other Latino educators, and just be and relax because we have had a whole school year. Now it's time to celebrate and then celebrate each other. So, without further ado, let me invite our guest for today, Dr. Nancy. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you doing? I'm so happy to be here.
Good, good, good. It's the end of the week. Earlier we were checking in, and yeah, I have a headache still. I was sharing with Dr. Nancy how I went to a conference, and the entire time I was at the conference, my mind wasn't at the conference. I kept thinking of all the duties that I had to do here, and now I ended up with a headache. That I still have a headache after a day,
Hmm.
but it's the weekend, and I'm glad you are here with us. And yeah, I'll take time to rest over the weekend. Well, after tomorrow's event. Well, yeah.
Awesome.
How's it
Yeah.
going?
So thank you so much for having me again to recap my workshop from last month. So it was on May 23rd, a few weeks ago. And I titled my workshop Protecting Your Mental Health and Sanity. And that has been just so important for me on my individual journey towards healing and recovering from my own trauma and childhood. And so it's just something that is so special and like close to my heart, and just things that I've learned throughout my journey that I want to share with others, especially the Latinx community and educators. Yeah, so I can't wait to dive in. Yeah.
Yeah, no, tell us a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
bit of what we talked about, what some people miss, and I'm about to drop the resource that other people can also access because you work graciously and you share a lot of good resources for educators.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I did my best to try to like do or provide a lot of different types of resources. And some that are free, some that are subscription based, some articles that you can read, a self-love, I think it was a self-love toolkit. And so let me start by doing a quick recap about my workshop. So during the workshop, I started off by asking participants how they defined self care. So I wanted to get a sense of like, well, what do people label self care as? And a lot of the participants provided like really good examples of like, I just enjoyed like going out to my garden, or taking care of my plants. Like, and I just loved them because that was like my whole the main point that I wanted to come across was that first of all, self care is doesn't have to be like doing a day spa or spending a lot of money. Like it could be something that is free. And I provided some examples of things that I like to do, like going on a walk, or watching the sunrise or watching the sunset, or just having like a cup of tea or coffee with like one of my best friends and just talking about how we're doing and talking about our emotions and really getting vulnerable. Um, I provided other examples that I can't really recall right now, but that was a little bit about what we discussed in the beginning of the workshop. Then I dove into providing information about my background and my lens and my perspective and what I have been through. So I talked about growing up in a dysfunctional family where my dad was an alcoholic, and I learned certain coping strategies and survival strategies that were just really unhealthy for me at this point in my life. And through therapy and through just other recovery tools, I've been able to recognize, like, hey, I did this. And we talked a little bit about that, where there's different types of stress categories, right? So I shared about like the four different there's the fight, flight, fawn, and freeze. And I shared, like, I was always like in that fawn mode, where it was like very much like people pleasing and just walking on eggshells, and putting other people's emotions and state of mind like ahead of mine, prioritizing their emotional state, because I was the key peacekeeper as well in my family. So I wanted to keep the peace. I didn't like the chaos. I didn't like the yelling and fighting that was going on. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone was okay. So what I learned growing up was like, I needed to take care of others, or I felt responsible for taking care of others so that I could be okay. So that was like my mantra, like, as long as everyone's okay, I will be okay. But I'm learning that it's actually the opposite. It's the reverse. As long as I'm okay first, then I can be there for others and show up for others to the best of my ability. Um, what did we do after that? Let's see. So after I shared a little bit about my background, I asked participants to kind of reflect on their own experiences within their childhood, and kind of reflect about who in your family modeled self-care. Was there anyone that modeled self-care in your family? And what were the messages that you got about resting? That was something else that I shared during the workshop, where it's like, these messages from my parents, where like, if I would sleep in, and this was like not even that long ago, like 5 years ago, when I was in my doc program, I was sleeping in on a Sunday, and my dad would call me up, and he would wake me up from sleeping, and he would say to me in Spanish, "Que huevona eres," which basically translates to like, "You're really lazy," because I was still asleep at like 9 or 10 in the morning. And so it's we talked a lot about breaking down those like stigma, or that shame, or the blame that we internalized growing up, and figuring out like, what are those barriers to our self-care, like what is preventing me from engaging in more self-care, because I think honestly it's something that you should do every day. But I'm not here to try to tell people how to live their lives, but in my experience, it has been really beneficial to incorporate even just like 10 minutes of self-care every day. I also mentioned about, I didn't know how to slow down and how to just sit and be still. And not even like for a minute or two. It was like always like, go, 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 like vámonos, vámonos, like apúrate, like. So it's just, but in doing that, like I realized how like my nervous system was just so overworked. It was just, I didn't know how to relax essentially, because and it took a lot of time. It took a year or so to like really just unwind. Like I even thought of myself as like this towel, when you're wringing the towel, like para exprimir el agua. That's what I felt like. I felt like a ringed up towel. So it took some time to just kind of slowly unwind and just be free and flow.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, and so another thing that I touched on during the workshop was about, I didn't create this term, but I talked about anti-self-care activities. So I asked the participants to identify what are some activities that are doing the opposite of self-care. Like, what is basically making you feel more depleted, frustrated, discontent, unfulfilled? Like, I try to identify those and remove them as much as you can. So when you were sharing in the beginning of our conversation about like, oh, you have a headache and you shouldn't have gone to the workshop, like you couldn't really be physically present and be mindful at that workshop because you're thinking about like all these million things that you have to do or projects that are coming up and deadlines. And I have been there. I totally get it. I've been in your shoes where I no estoy ni aquí ni allá. Literally, like I'm just like not. I'm either in the past or like I used to I used to like really be very self-critical towards myself, and like what I was very much a perfectionist and I didn't like making mistakes. So when I felt like I made a mistake, I would be stuck in the past, reliving that and kind of thinking about like, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that differently. Like but that is like retroactive thinking, and that is just so unhealthy for me. But also on the other side, you can also be stuck in the future about thinking about things that you have to do, like, and that always set off my just my stress response. My nervous system was just activated right away because I'm anxious about like, I shouldn't be here. Like, I need to go do other things. Or like when I'm talking to someone, I'm not even like listening because I'm like, I don't have time for this. I just need to go, like it just, and I can tell as a counselor, like my background's in counseling. So I can tell when people are just like giving me like a blank stare, like they're not physically here. They're stuck in their mind somewhere else in a different universe. So yeah, that was some of the things that we talked about. And then towards the end, I provided some general advice, recommendations. We talked about some positive affirmations, and we can also, if there's time, we can do that too. But do you have any other questions?
No, the image about the towel being wrong, it makes sense. And as educators, I think every time, hey, can you be the DEI person? Then like we keep exprimiendo, like, hey, can you
Right,
take
right.
after school duty? Hey, you speak Spanish, can you translate for us? Like every time. So yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, the visual was really good to see. And
yeah.
yeah, you also share some tips, and we also had a chance to do some mindfulness activities. So I don't know if we have time, if you can guide us through some right now here in the live stream. And yeah,
Sure, I'd love to. So do you want to do the grounding exercise first, and then we'll do the
we
tips?
will do tips, yeah. And then we'll
Okay,
close out with tips for our educators. Uh-huh.
perfect. I love that. Okay. All right. So for our grounding exercise, I will ask you to start with your feet flat on the ground and your hands cupped loosely on your lap. Take a deep breath through your nose and then an audible exhale through your mouth. Release any tension that you may be holding and just give yourself permission to get as comfortable as possible. And you're already doing it, Ivan, which is perfect. So you can close your eyes or lower your gaze. And we're going to do a few more deep breaths. We're going to take a few more deep breaths. So inhale deeply through your nose and release an audible sigh through your mouth. Letting go of the day thus far, letting go of the week thus far, letting go of the year thus far. So we're going to do that a few more times. Inhale deeply through your nose. And then release an audible sigh through your mouth. This time that you're taking right now, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, it's for you and you only. There's nowhere that you have to be. There's nothing that you have to do. And there's no one that you have to please. You are exactly where you're meant to be. So we're going to start the body scan by paying attention to the crown of your head. Notice what sensations you're feeling. Do you feel anything, any pulsating, any heat or cold. Now move your attention down to your eyes. What are your eyes doing? Are they concentrating? Are you furrowing your eyebrows? Do your best to relax your eyes and unfurrow your eyebrows. Now we're going to continue down to your jaw. What do you notice in your jaw? Are you clenching? Do your best to unclench your jaw. So let's move down to your chest and your belly. How is your breath? Is it deep and slow, or is it fast and shallow? There's no right or wrong, no need to judge it. Just simply notice, what is the state of your breath? If thoughts arise while you're doing the body scan, that's okay. Know that it is completely normal, and just remind yourself that your to-do list or whatever concerns can wait another couple minutes. In this moment, you are safe and have the ability to relax. You can even say that to yourself as a mantra. I can relax, or I give myself permission to relax in this moment. So now that you checked in with your breath, let's move down to your heart. What is the state of your heart right now? What feelings are coming up for you? Hold your feelings. Just give it space. Let them be. Let's continue down to your belly. What sensations do you notice here? Do you notice that it's relaxed, or does it feel a little bit tight? Again, as a reminder, there is no right or wrong answer. We're just simply checking in with your body and giving your nervous system time to relax and decompress. So now we're going to continue down to your legs. Can you feel the ground or the chair beneath you? Finally, we're going to end by noticing the sensations in your toes and your feet. Do you notice any tingling or pulsating? Are your feet sore or achy from all the walking and activity that you've been doing? We'll close the body scan with a gratitude. Think of something or someone that you're grateful for. Hold it in your heart and express all your love and appreciation towards it or towards that person. To come back into the room, go ahead and wiggle your fingers and toes and gently move your head side to side. And when you're ready, open your eyes. How did it feel? How was it?
No. It is always good to like stop and like be aware of yourself. So hopefully people watching now or watching later will be able to join us. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
it is welcome to do this at the end of the week. Yeah, no, I'm interested. Do you have any more tips for us as we close out?
I do. I have a few. Yes. And so some of these are the same tips that I shared during the workshop. The first tip is to start off slow. You know, if you're adding a new self-care activity to your routine, it's going to take some time to really incorporate it. So just maybe start with 10 minutes a day. You don't always have to do like an hour a day or whatnot. And also give yourself grace. Like if for one reason or another you didn't get to that self-care activity, that's okay. Like you don't have to beat yourself up about that. The next tip is establish boundaries. I know we hear this a lot, and I know that it's super hard to do. I know from my own personal experience. But just remember, it is okay to say no, and it is okay to prioritize you and your well-being. That's some of the like positive affirmations that I shared with the group. The next thing, because your mental health and well-being is your responsibility, you are responsible for asking for help. Ask for help from your loved ones, from your partners, from your community. Like, remember that you are not alone and that there are so many people willing to help you, as long as you can vocalize your needs, wants, and desires and your feelings. So that is important, and that is your responsibility. The next thing is schedule time to do nothing, absolutely nothing, to just be and just, be outside, listen to the birds. The weather's getting beautiful. It's summertime. Like, I just love, love, love being outside. And I'm in the Pacific Northwest. So today I was outside and I got to hear the rain and I got to hear the birds chirping. And it was just amazing. Like, I just love connecting to nature. The next thing is use positive affirmations. If you're struggling with like engaging in self-care because you're feeling shame or guilt, positive affirmations have been my best friend, and they are helping me rewire my brain. So when those old thoughts and patterns come up from my family and upbringing, I use those positive affirmations to say like, no, like, I deserve this. I can take care of myself. I deserve, to take a bath or read a book or just go for a walk. I deserve this. I am, capable of it, and I'm worthy of it, basically. So with that, I will say goodbye, and thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed our talk, Ivan.
No, thank you so much, and for being with us. One last question. If people
Yeah.
want to reach out to you, how can they reach out? Can we have your email? Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. I am super open to like connecting with more people who want to learn more, or who just want to connect. If they are interested in learning more about my dissertation or about my past experience, I'm super happy to connect with them. You can either share my LinkedIn or share my email with them. Yeah,
Okay.
I would be more than happy to talk with them.
We'll do
Yeah.
that. Thank you. Thank you for being with
Yeah.
us. Thank you for presenting and being part of our community.
You're welcome.
I'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.
Okay, LEC community, that closes out our LEC live. Hopefully, you got a chance to go back. We recorded, this will be recorded. You can go back and do the activity that we had just experienced with Dr. Nancy. We look forward to seeing you on our upcoming events. You can register below. We'll be celebrating the summer at our summer fiesta on June 22nd. Besides that, we hope that you have a great weekend. Enjoy your weekend, and then we hope to see you soon at another episode of LEC Live. I'll see you later.
It was like us in different ways. We're sitting there like in the arena in Las Vegas. When I started this LEC community,